right, welcome back, everybody. Behind me, did you see it? Those numbers ticking away. That's the national debt, over $11 trillion. We're talking right now about the dangers of the deficit. I want to get back right into our discussion. And, Jeff, I want to bring you back into it. I mean, we've got a graphic that looks at the debt as a percentage of GDP. I mean, the national debt definitely growing. I mean, when you look at something like that, you got to be concerned.
Absolutely. And you have to be concerned in large part because a lot of what we're spending money on, in my view, is not especially productive. If we had a currently high debt and we were doing something with all that expenditure that was really making the economy productive, generating the revenue to pay back that debt, that's one thing. But I don't think that's the case.
What specifically bothers you in terms of those expenditures?
Okay, well, in my view, a huge amount of things. I think we're spending way too much on national defense, fighting wars that we're never going to win. I think we're spending way too much on health care in ways that are very similar to the ways the administration is emphasizing. They're absolutely right that there's a huge amount of waste in our current system. Where I disagree with them is how we're going to fix that. They want to fix it by giving out more health insurance. That's insane. I think we have to fix it by rolling back the existing health insurance plans. More co-pays, more deductibles, possibly a higher age of eligibility for Medicare, and things like that.
Stan,
but it's across the board. The problem is that the only two really, really big things are national defense and health.
Stan, all issues that need to be dealt with in your view?
Look, Jeff's exactly right. I mean, it's always better to borrow for something that will provide a return. No one would argue that a big mortgage is a bad debt as long as you've got enough to be able to make the payments every month and the value of the house is worth more than the value of the mortgage. The problem here, as Jeff suggested, is we're borrowing for things that don't pay a return in terms of dollars. Now, you've got to understand that there are other reasons the government, especially the federal government, spends, and defense is one of them. That's about as pure a public good as you could possibly get.
Your sign over here, David.
I mean, if you look at healthcare, we spend double per capita of any other nation on earth. We have below average results, the highest uninsured population. It's not a matter of money. We're spending too much money. We need to dramatically re-engineer the system. And by the way, we've already got a house. If you want to count the healthcare system as a house, it's already mortgaged for more than it's worth. We're not trying to figure out how we're going to be able to pay that money.
All right, so you guys, it seems like there's at least a consensus that there's too much spending going on generally. And it's not just this administration. It's been going on for several years. Let's talk about what we need to do going forward. I mean, Stan, is it a case that we have no doubt about it, we can't avoid raising taxes here to get out of this?
No, look, I mean, first of all, there's always two ways to fix the budget, and one is to cut spending, the other is to increase taxes. My guess is it'll be a combination of both. And, you know, as I said a few minutes ago, the government's going to have to be facing some difficult choices about stopping to do some things. Does it really need to spend as much on agriculture or, as David suggested, on health care? You know, there are some things that it's just not going to be able to do unless people are willing to tolerate these deficits, which at some point, David's exactly right. One of the people lending us money is going to say, no, Moss, we're not lending you anymore. That will create a huge problem economically.
You're talking about the Chinese, right?
The Chinese, the Japanese, the Saudis, the UK, the Norwegians, the South Africans, anybody who lends us money.
Jeff, we've just got a few seconds left here. I mean, the deficit, though, a necessary evil to kind of get to this point, get the economy going again, and then we've got to address it.
Well, I mean, part of the deficit is the necessary evil or the allegedly necessary evil, but a huge part of the deficit are these longer-term things that we've not made decisions about. I totally agree with Stan. We have to start thinking about making choices, and the tone from Congress and administration has been that we don't have to do that, that somehow there are these magic bullets out there. They're going to reform health care and save money while covering 45 million more people. That's just fantasy, and we have to get past that before we can have reasonable discussions.
All right, but health care has been costing a lot of folks here, you know, a lot of money, David. We've got to do something with the plan.
We do, but we need a health care plan that will save us money, not cost us money. We need to not just pay for health care expansion. We need to make a big down payment on the tens of trillions in unfunded obligations we already have. You know, look, I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for more coverage today, but Tuesday never comes.
All right, we could go on forever about this, but we got to run. Dave Walker, Jeff Myron, and Stan Collender, thank you so much for talking about the deficit. We appreciate it.